presentation.
Go back there.
Yes, because
So when it's done, stop broadcasting.
So we're going here fine or anything?
yeah, anywhere in there.
Okay, great.
And do you need me to move the slides for you?
That'd be helpful if you don't mind. Okay, great. All set? Terrific. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. My name is Ross Silvers. I am the Mobility Manager for PSTA, which is the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority here in Pinellas County. And I've been in that position for about 5 years now. I am the manager. What I do is I manage both our accessibility features of our public bus system and also work with a program called the Transportation Disadvantaged, which is a statewide program. And I'm also the manager of a door-to-door service for people who cannot ride the bus due to their disability. It's an ADA paratransit service we call DART. So before I get too into everything, I wanted to just ask real quickly for folks to say a bit about first of all, where you are from, if you're from this area, or what city you're from in Florida. And then secondly, what you most hope to learn by being here today in 30 seconds or less. So do you need a microphone for getting their feedback for that? You're good?
Yes.
Okay. So I know you already said that what you're looking for, which is that you're looking for information for your son. Right?
Yeah, my name's Cecilia Morelli.
Uh-huh.
My son Daniel was born very early.
Okay.
So from 3, he's been in the school system, ESC. He's 20, almost 21. He has 1 more year. He does ride the school bus, handicapped school bus now. So when he's out of school and hopefully in some type of adult day treatment program, and I work full-time, what would he be eligible? How could he get somewhere?
All right.
That's why I'm hoping. He's blind, he's cerebral palsy, he's profound. He's wheelchair bound for the school's purpose.
Okay. And what city do you live in?
And I live in Seminole,
Okay.
Pinellas County.
Here in Pinellas County. Great. And you guys, I know, came to something I presented before.
We live in Seminole,
Uh-huh.
and we are going to be 21 this summer. And also, he rides the school bus with his wheelchair.
Okay.
He has cerebral palsy and developmental delays. But we're also going to go to a day program in a couple of years.
Okay.
And where he will be needing transportation to and from, more
Okay.
like a van
Uh-huh.
that will accept his wheelchair and take him to his day program.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
Perfect. Is there anything that you wanted to say?
John, do you want to say something now? That you're looking forward to getting out of the school? And going to do arts and crafts?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And in the back?
I'm Jack Humberger.
Thanks, Jack.
With listeners, and I also represent the Southeast ADA Center.
All right. And I know Jack for a long time now. Great. Well, thanks, folks, for coming. I appreciate it. So first, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But give you some context, and then I'll give you some information that hopefully give help to you. So today I stand before you as someone who travels independently on his own. I have a disability myself. I'm legally blind. And I get around mostly by buses, by the public buses. I do get rides from different people. I got a ride from Jack here today because it would have taken me hours to get here by bus. I could have done it, but I'd have to get up even earlier in the morning, which I don't look forward to on Saturday. So get a ride when it's convenient. I ride a bicycle, which some people find a little surprising for someone who's legally blind. I try to do it carefully, but it helps to extend your range when you're on a bus because you can actually take your bicycle on the bus. It helps you get further and get there faster. And I've traveled independently by commercial airplane, going through airports, etc., and train, and most modes imaginable. I cannot imagine having done that when I was the age of your children. At that time, I was very shy, believe it or not. I was a little awkward, didn't really know how to talk to girls who I found attractive. That's probably not that uncommon at that age. I was teased a bit for 4 eyes and that kind of stuff. And then I grew up in Miami, by the way, in the suburbs of Miami. And I, for transportation, relied upon my parents. And then once friends got to the age where they could drive, upon them to drive wherever I wanted to go. I never used public transportation. And I rode my bicycle just around the neighborhood, never to get anywhere I needed to go and do what I had to do. As a result, I describe myself as being well loved by my parents, certainly, although quite bored, and certainly not very enthusiastic about what I was going to do the next day. Okay. So whereas today I have a family, I have a wife and 2 children, so I am loving them as they are hopefully loving me, and out there and active with all that's involved in being part of a family that you guys understand. So that's just a little background about me. What I think was critical for me to make the transition of being someone with a disability who was, not really at a point where I could travel independently and get where I wanted to go and explore the world and do those things to where I am today was 2 things. I think one was, having been brought up by my family in a way where I was encouraged to be independent and inclusive as much as possible. So, but most importantly, where they had the same types of expectations for me as for my brother who had no disability. So I was responsible for doing errands. I was responsible around the house, doing chores around the house. It was expected that I would grow up to be independent, whatever that looked like, and to live my own life. Same for my brother. So now my dad wanted to go out and mow the lawn. Sometimes, some flowers might bite dust on the way, but that was, so it's all not always the same thing you do. But as you guys know, being same and equal are not the same thing. So I think that was very important. And then also for me, the other factor was, I think, going away to college. And I don't think it mattered where I went, but it was the idea that I went away. And so I had to be out from underneath the protection and love of my parents and on my own. Come on in and sign in, please, if you don't mind. And when I was at college, from a transportation perspective, no one was allowed to have a car in their first year. And so everyone had to get around by other means. So it was much more of an equal playing field. So everybody was walking to where they could walk to, taking the bus, and thus I learned to ride public transportation with peers, which is a really nice way to do it. So that's just background on kind of how I got to that point and just kept on. Then once you saw what the possibilities were, I wanted more and just kept growing and learning and trying. And sometimes you would stumble and run into barriers or had a negative experience, and you survive it and you learn from it and you get stronger from it. And being strong is part of what it's all about too, is being able to be resilient and being able to problem solve. And so that when you have a plan and the plan does not go as you intend, that you have a system in place, a process for helping to get yourself out of it and for what to do in that circumstance. So that's really important. Thanks for coming. Sign-in sheet's coming your way in just a minute. That's all right. So that covers the informal stuff about me. Any questions about me and how I made that transition or at that time before I get into the factual part of the presentation? Okay. One thing we did before we got started is everyone kind of just said real briefly what they were hoping to gain from being here today. Do you mind doing that real quick?
What's that?
What city you're from and what you hope to gain from the session?
Oldsmar, Florida. I'm here as a parent. My son is here. He's at the Self-Advocate Workshop
Great.
now. He's 20 years old. So,
Okay.
but he is definitely going to need transportation to and from college, so that's why I'm here to get him filled in on all the information for that.
And does he know where he's going to go for college?
St. Pete College.
Okay.
So he'll be
Which campus?
he'll be probably starting in Seminole because he's going to get a certificate in video game foundations and maybe branch that to the web design
Okay.
associate degree in
All right.
Market Tempest.
And how does he get around now mostly?
He has an electric bike which was donated to him from Amped Bikes out of California.
Okay.
So he has an electric bike.
Very cool. I love it. All right.
I don't think that could get him to Seminole.
No, probably not. Probably not. All right. So let's go ahead with the slide portion of the presentation. I can't see my own slides very well, but we'll just kind of play by ear and see how we do. Are we in the same spot?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so I think kind of from what you heard me saying is I have a little term here I'm kind of coining called get sassy. Okay, So in getting Sassy, in this sense, my own little acronym, supporting abilities for success. And that sassiness means that it's having that ability to recover from that plan that doesn't go perfectly. So it's a really important self-advocacy skill for, I think, for folks to have travel independently. And there's a little bit of kind of self-defense skills and awareness in there. There's a little bit of just self-advocacy and some other things wrapped up in it. But I think it's something very important. What happens when things don't go according to plan? So it's always, especially when you're looking at any type of transportation, always having a backup plan. Welcome, if you can take care. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great. Let's see, what else to tell you about here? Travel training. Is everybody here familiar with what travel training is? A little bit?
No.
No, okay. So travel training is a profession whereby it's people who get special skills to be able to train individuals, mostly with disabilities, and also for seniors, to be able to use a given mode of transportation, given whatever their abilities and limitations may happen to be. So the school system has travel trainers, sometimes called different things. For someone who is blind, there are orientation and mobility instructors. I know several of them who work specifically for the school system and work with students who are blind to teach them how to travel independently, whether it's by bus or using a DART type system. There's also, on the special ed side, I know all the extended transition folks work extensively with their students on how they're going to get to their employment type sites before they age out at age 22. So they have travel training skills they utilize as well. There's a lot of resources out there that are helpful. One of the best resources on the internet is the Easter Seals Project Action website. I think it's just projectaction.org, if I'm not mistaken. And this is one of the materials that they have, and it's called You Can Ride. And what this is a booklet they put together. It's kind of a template, essentially, designed to help someone develop individual travel training for a person with a disability to use on a public transportation system. So you can get this book either in hard copy or there's a disc so you can modify it yourself, or a travel trainer can help you modify it. And so the idea is these photos all are interchangeable. So you can use PTSA bus photos, you could use DART photos, you could use a Goodwill or a park or U-Park van photo to get an idea of what it looks like. So the idea is you're working with someone and you're showing them visually, okay, here's where you stand to catch the bus photo. Here's what the bus or van looks like. Okay? Here's what your seat on the bus looks like. Here's what your destination looks like out the window when it's time for you to pull a cord or know where to get off. Here's a picture of what it looks like in the direction you want to head when you get off of the bus or the van. Here's a picture of the person who you're looking for when you get to your destination. You walk them through step by step. So you can do this either in a physical bound booklet like this. You can do it electronically as a series of photos in a little photo book on a cell phone or on a tablet. So there's a lot of ways of doing it. But it's a really kind of nifty tool they developed, and like I said, it's on a disc. This is free. So you contact Easter Seals Project Action, and that's one of the tools you can get. The other one that came from them is the handout that I passed around earlier. If you didn't get it, I think they're in the back of the room, and it's rights and responsibilities. One of them is specifically for transit, and the other is for paratransit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so now let's see. Come back to our presentation. Stop me anytime with a question. But if you do have a question, please call it out, because I may not see your hand when it's raised. Okay, and I know a number of you are interested in looking at transportation once your child hits age 22. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and that's usually going to be through either ADA paratransit, such as what I run, or it's going to be through a agency group trip, like through their vans, like through a Goodwill, Park, E-Park, something like that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in more detail. And then, of course, there's always the option of hiring someone yourself, either hiring a taxi company or a professional driver to come and provide individual service for your son or for your daughter. And then there's do-it-yourself, which is where you work with a neighbor, word of mouth, to find someone who's going the same direction who can do it. The challenge, of course, is if you're doing it yourself, means that the person you're working with has not been screened in any way. So you have to do that all yourself too. So don't forget safety. Safety is a really important piece when you're trusting not only to be a safe driver and their driving record and the safety of their vehicle, but also obviously their appropriate safetiness for working with your son. All right, next slide here. These are just some statistics. These are from, I think, 2010, 2011. This is within the population of what's called transportation disadvantage. That's a statewide program. I run that program here in Pinellas County. It's to provide transportation to people who fit 3 criteria in Pinellas County. That's where we all from. You have to live in Pinellas County, not have access to a car or ride to get to your vital trips, which includes employment and food and school. I think we only cover right now training that's required for your job. I don't think we cover regular school trips for college trips for the door-to-door service. And then you have to have a household income, so whoever you're living with is included, is my family members, of below 150% of poverty. So, but there's a bus pass side of it and a door-to-door side. Come on in. So the bus pass side just means a lower cost bus pass, costing $8.25 for a monthly pass instead of $65. And then on the door-to-door side, it means paying $3 for a one-way trip instead of the $4 you pay on DART. And I'll talk about the DART 88 paratransit a little bit as well. But these are some statistics just showing how people who are transportation disadvantaged get around in Pinellas County. So about 2/3 are using the bus pass, and the other third are either going through an agency, like we talked about earlier, or doing the door-to-door service that I was mentioning. Okay, so just some statistics. The next slide. Okay, so let's look a little bit at another one of my fun acronyms. Which is fun. TRIM bureaucracy. TRIM meaning turn rigidity into mobility. How do we do that, huh? So all these programs have some rules and procedures, and just as it's important to know what your rights are and your responsibilities are, it's really helpful if you learn what the different programs, rules, and procedures are, because you can use them to your advantage. So not every place is as open with what their rules are as PSTA tries to be. For example, on PSTA's website, you'll see all the rules, all the eligibility, all the criteria, how the programs work for transportation disadvantaged on its own page, and also on the DART program on its own page. So including, if you want to click on it, open it, a 26-page user's guide. But there's a more digestible 2-page version right on the website. So kind of explaining all about those programs. So showing respect for people and the rules and trying to work within the rules, but also trying to understand how they work and where you can find opportunities to get the most out of the service, or how you can find the open road, so to speak, and get where you need to go and make it work. I think you see the rest that's on there. And we're going to talk more about this in a minute on how to make sure you avoid or get past the word no when you're trying to get somewhere and make something happen. Okay, on the next slide. Okay, so more positive sassiness is what it's going to take to do all this, of course, in order to turn kind of what can be sometimes overwhelming options into opportunities for travel. And so for travel training, we'll come back to that for a minute. You want to try and access it while your kids are still in the school system if you can. So before they hit 22 and age out, talk to whoever's in charge of their, I'm not a school expert, so you got to help me here, their IEP or whatever is in place while they're in extended transition, and make sure that they're training them not just how to get around now, but how they're going to get around in that next step, which is why you're here today. They're there to help you. They're getting paid to do that. So put them to work, and that's part of what they're there for. And they know it well. So, and they know how to work with students like yours well. Okay, so I would really push on that. There are grants for doing separate travel training, but that's a lot more work to make that happen. And as I gave the example with my own personal life, I think having a peer mentoring role is really helpful. So for example, the last time I did a presentation like this was actually down at the, forgetting the name of it now, it was a conference down at USF St. Pete. It's where they brought in all the Stingray kids and the Project 10 folks from around the state. And so there's actually a guy there who goes to the Stingray program, and he's on PSTA's Transit Riders Advisory Committee, which is an advisory committee to our board of directors. So he comes to all the meetings and participates with everybody else. He has developmental disabilities, and he's really awesome at going and working with other students down there at USF to train them on how to use a bus. He loves it. So he does an awesome job with that, and people feel really, the other kids feel comfortable with him because he's a peer. So it's really nice once kind of you get some basics going, and to have that as being the first way to take that first ride together. The next two slides are just simply the handouts that you already have. So that's what you have in front of you. I just recommend reading them over and kind of working to understand them. Again, they come from Easter Seals Project Action. We'll skip to the next slide, which will be a picture of the bus. So a little bit Oldsmar, right? Okay. So this is the North County Connector bus. It is a smaller size bus than our standard PSTA buses. And it's kind of cool because what it does is it can, you either can catch it on its route, or if you call if you call at least 2 hours ahead of time, and you live within 3/4 of a mile of the route, it'll come to your house and pick you up at your address, and then take you obviously along its route and drop you off within 3/4 of a mile of the route as well, assuming you schedule that ahead of time. So all that for the regular cost of our buses. So for either if someone's in a wheelchair, it's going to be $1. If someone doesn't have a PSTA disabled ID, it'd be $2 each way. It's really nice service, and it runs to Oldsmar. It's actually our most popular route that we have. It goes to Countryside Mall, where they can connect to regular PSTA buses. And then it also goes all the way out to the Northwest Transfer Center in Tampa.
When did they start that program?
That program started up in December of 2012, I believe.
Just recently?
Pretty recently, yes.
I haven't heard of that one before.
Yes.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Cool.
It's very popular with
Not
seniors.
for us, but I mean for others to get around
Sure.
the curves.
Yeah, because you have to walk. to
Because
the
there's
stop.
so many, that is awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Now, we don't allow electric bicycles on the buses, but we do allow standard bicycles. So
It's a hybrid, so he can use it as a bike or the battery on it.
okay. So in regular bicycle mode without the battery,
Right.
he could ride it to wherever he would catch the bus.
Right.
Then put it on every bus has a bike rack on the bus, and take it to where he's going. Every bus in the PSA system is, of course, fully ADA compliant and wheelchair accessible. Every bus, they all have, everyone except the express buses have a ramp. It's a very simple fold-out system. So there's virtually never an issue of a bus driver saying it's not working, that kind of thing. Because even if it doesn't work with the push of his button, he can just get up, and it's like picking up a piece of cardboard. You pick it and go, boom, and out it goes. It's really easy. So it's great access. Every bus has 2 wheelchair positions available, and of course tie downs to secure the chair. The bus operator does all that. The bus operator can assist the person in getting up and down the ramp if need be onto the bus. And of course, under Americans with Disabilities Act, and this is in your information you have, but all bus operators are required to provide assistance in not only boarding and getting off the bus, but also in helping the person to know when to get off the bus if they should need that. I will tell you though that all of our buses in our system, as of about the same time as when our connector started, have a real-time information system. Why am I jumping ahead of my slides when this is in my slides? So let's go to the next slide. So here's our real-time slide. And what this does is when they surveyed people who use public transportation across the country, what's the most important amenity or thing that's a part of the system that helps you? And they all say that the most important thing is having access to this real-time information. And what it means is that you can easily know the exact time based upon GPS that the bus you're waiting for is going to come to your stop. So this is really helpful. I use it all the time. So if it's raining like it is today, you want to wait out in the rain, you know it takes you 5 minutes to get to the stop, then at 10 minutes beforehand, you punch up this information and you have it, you go. So the first step is usually on the left-hand side, you see Google Transit. So you can, just like if you driving directions, put in where you're starting from, where you're going to, default it to the bus, and you schedule your trip. And it shows you connections, it shows you walking time, it shows you walking distance, and what time the next bus will come, and where to catch it, and what time you reach your destination. So you can plan your trip. And then in the next slide, we'll see you can use text messaging, you can use interactive voice response through an automated voice system. You can even set up to have automatic text messages sent to you to tell you the time that your bus is going to come to your stop if you're taking the same bus every day. It's a really cool system. Okay? And that's something that a travel trainer can help teach you how to use. So let's say you don't have luck in getting a hold of a travel trainer. You still want some help. PTSA does have someone who can come out and do some basic level travel training with your child on how to use the PTSA system, how to use the bus system. So I recommend using the school system only because they know how to work with your students the best. Whereas our travel trainer works with a lot of seniors and all different types of people. But if it doesn't work, give us a call and we're happy to help you out. All right, let's see. So up on our next slide. So I am the Community Transportation Coordinator for Pinellas County. And so that means that every year, that means that I work with about 19 different human service agencies that all have their own vehicles they use to transport their clients to different places. So for example, Jack Humberg's in the back of the room and he's with Bowley Centers. And they have vans. So every year we have to go out and inspect the vans that are at Bowley and make sure that they're safe and their drivers have appropriate safety records in place. And we try to stay informed about what type of service they're offering and how they're offering it. Other places we do that with include U-Park, which is now called ARC Tampa Bay. Is that right?
I think so.
I think I got it.
They changed names.
Yes. Goodwill, lots of others, Suncoast, Sunrise Community, lots of different agencies have these vehicles. They're usually using them for specific purposes. So for example, I'm pretty sure that the ARC Tampa Bay and Park use them almost exclusively to transport people from their home to their,
Program.
thank you. I don't know what the right term is these days,
That's
day
okay.
program.
We're not going there, we're going to Creative Clay. That's where I'm looking at. We'll get it, the individual man that takes him to and from.
Okay,
Pay through our secondary insurance, as I call it,
excellent.
but that's med waiver, or
Yes.
iBudget, whatever it's called.
Right. So I know one of you was asking about all that good stuff. Were you asking about the funding piece?
Yeah, funding ultimately down the line too.
Did you know about med waiver and iBudget, all that good stuff?
I have the med waiver and she talks about in a year looking at that stuff.
Yeah, and that's
So-
something that they have to do when they turn 21. It will be in the plan, because they readjust his funding when they turn 21,
Okay.
because that's what we're getting ready to do. That will actually have to be in his plan through med waiver.
Now, because she didn't put it in
Not until
now,
he's 21, they have to do it.
after 21,
Yes.
21 to 22,
Yeah.
transitioning out of school. Okay.
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you can't start researching it
Right.
now.
Oh, no.
But if you
which
can
is
get the
great.
training done through the school,
Yeah,
that would be.
that was a helpful, I
Yeah.
wrote that, I wrote access to transportation while still in school
Get
system.
it, don't let them
Yes.
tell you no.
Truly, yeah,
Because no is not a word in our house.
okay.
There you go.
Travel
I love
trainer
it.
that you're talking, I asked her that.
I love it.
That's exactly.
Because
Perfect.
I'm actually working with them myself in one-on-one,
Right now,
yes,
okay,
because I choose to. But
okay.
if I want it bad enough, I will find my ways of getting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start asking now.
Yes, ask that, where does he go to school?
Paul B. Stevens.
They should know.
Yeah.
And you ask the social worker.
No. So thank you, yeah, and thank you, because that's what I asked her.
No is never a word.
Yeah, start.
That's exactly right. that's why I figured the best resources are here in the room.
And his parents, and that's
Yes.
great, not from, this young man is great, but you learn it from other parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
that's why I
Absolutely.
do what I do. I work with new parents that are just beginning, and I teach them things that I
I need
tried.
your name out.
I think you might need to, yes.
Before,
We have a card.
You're both in Seminole too,
Yeah.
so, you know.
They go to
Excellent.
different schools. He goes to Dixie.
Okay.
But again, Paul B,
Yeah.
they should have somebody that knows.
So that's exactly what you want to do. You want to start learning it now because it's a complicated system. The whole, you know, because you have to get med waiver approved and you have to be deemed appropriate for funding, and then you get an I budget, and your I budget, from what I understand, covers all different services. So it's
Yes.
like getting a budget. So you have to divide your budget into where it's going to go, and transportation is a piece of that. And I don't think anything's really guaranteed. It's all how you carve up your budget. And so what there are is on the APD website, you can theoretically find, I don't know if I've ever tried myself, but you can find a list of all the registered transportation providers for this region. So somewhere on the APD website, this exists. I've been assured this by APD staff. And so you even should be able to find out what rates they charge. Because there are different private companies who provide the transportation to places like Creative Clay and other places. Okay? So do start working on it now so you can figure out who's out there and, you know, who's going to make it work the best.
Have you had your IEP meeting yet this year?
No.
Bring it up at the IEP meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay? So the sooner you start, the sooner you find out what you want to need, what you need to know. Let's go to the next. And that's really the slides I have, and the rest of the time focused on just answering your questions. I don't know if I've really addressed much of what you were looking for. Do you want to know more about DART and how DART works? Do you all know about DART?
Yeah, I want to know about that.
Okay.
What
That connection
Site.
does.
well, trying to put everything together because it's really not that big of a, because, you know, my budget's a little high, so.
It doesn't matter, but learning about it will always be good.
Exactly.
So you have other options. Because this is the best young man that will teach you the best different things that are available. And because I've been working with him for the past 3 years, teaching him how to talk to the bus driver and telling him where we're going. I don't open my mouth anymore.
Yeah, and I won't have a problem with that because my son will have his GPS and he'll.
But the
Good.
thing is, it's learning the different options is the biggest
Exactly,
thing.
and then what's the time differences, because he won't always know, you know, what time class is, and make that time management happen,
Yes.
so that he gets to class on time, isn't marked absent, all that kind of stuff.
So if he's going to use, you think he'll use the bus or use DART? What do you think?
I gotta look at both of them, because, you know, I went through public and the hours are kind of high to get to and from places, so, and I know I've asked him about it, he said, well, can we shave some time off of that, and things like that, so.
Yeah, so by bus, it's going to take a long time to
Yeah.
get from Oldsmar to the Seminole campus of SBC, because you're going from way east and north
About
to way
2 hours
west.
and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Per
It's a
lane.
long way.
Is
So what DART is everyone who runs a public transportation system of any size is required to provide what's called ADA complimentary paratransit, which is door-to-door service for people who, because of their disability, are unable to use the accessible bus system. Okay, so I'm the manager of that service here in Pinellas County. It's called DART. Demand Response Transportation. And again, there's a whole page on our website you'll see. Our website is psta.net. And so on there, you'll see DART at the top, and you can just click on learn about DART, and you'll see all the rules and everything about it. But essentially, it's a shared ride service, and it's for people with all types of disabilities of all ages. So the most important thing to think about is if your child were on the service, would they be okay if they were one of 3 or once in a while even 4 of the passengers and we're all sitting in a yellow cab together, going different places. So picking up and dropping off other people on the way, especially for a trip from Oldsmar all the way to Seminole. There'll probably be some other drops on the way.
So DART, you have here that personal care assistance ride free.
Yes.
Is that under the DART also?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So if your son would need to have someone ride with him to help him, and it's someone to ride with him either to help during the trip, or so for example, you could have someone to ride with your son if your son has anxiety issues to help the son remain calm during the trip, or someone to help out when they reach their destination. So whatever they have to do, going to doctor's
It's
office,
infrequent,
etc.
but it does happen.
Mhm. And you can have the PCA ride along sometimes when needed, and other times you don't need it, they don't have to ride. So, but you have to find the PCA. It's someone
Yeah.
who you provide, who you know.
And see, with Med Waiver, they have them, but I'm actually going on CDC Plus, which is another, I've taken over
You are
his.
going to.
Yeah, I'm already done the training and passed the test, but I've actually hired my husband to be our PCA,
All right.
because he gives him baths and does
Because
his.
while they
But it's-
count my income, the med waiver is not an option.
Med Waiver doesn't go by income, does it?
That's not what I was told.
No, it does not go.
It does not go by income.
It should not, but they tell me that it does. And they always ask for my income and instantly.
Is
For
he
you to
over
get on the
18?
list for the
He's
med,
over 18 now.
They shouldn't even ask for your income.
Right, and I'm gonna have him do it if he feels that's what
Yeah.
he needs to get his transportation services met,
Mhm.
which, you know, that's.
Cause they
our
don't even
biggest-
count
one of
our
our
income
biggest-
for anything, even
Right, but
SSI
they
now.
did, when he was under 18, they counted it
Mhm.
every
I
time.
don't remember.
But that was in
I don't
Ohio,
remember.
this is
Oh,
Florida.
see,
so-
Florida's a lot different.
Yes. It's different in every state,
Oh,
for sure.
Florida's one of the biggest states with disabilities.
Yeah.
And Ellis County is one of the bigger counties with
Mhm.
special needs here.
And they've done phenomenal with him in school. It's been great. So he's just almost totally independent. So,
That's
you
awesome.
know, he's at the other seminar learning how he can harness his skill set
That's
to
great.
be a better citizen. So I'm here getting the
Sure.
resources together and saying,
Good.
hey, Logan, here's your transportation options. And then I'll let him pick
Good.
up if it's him.
So let's see what a DART trip will look like for Logan. So if you or your husband were to drive Logan from your home to the Seminole campus, how long do you think it would take?
But it takes us about 45 minutes.
45-minute drive
And I'm not a slow driver.
if you're doing it private. So in DART, we have a 30-minute on-time pickup window. So if you get scheduled for, let's say you have class at 11. So they might schedule pickup at 9 o'clock. And then they're on time if they arrive by 9:30. And then they would then drop off and pick up other passengers along the way and probably get him to the campus around 10:30. So they actually use distance guidelines, mileage guidelines to figure
So
out.
we had one
the
sheet
trip.
for all the
And then the cost is $4 for a one-way trip. And you either can pay cash or there are these DART tickets that you can order off the internet.
Because
Or by mail.
according to St. Pete College, and if he held the student ID, he gets to ride the bus for free.
He does. Bus ride for free, but not DART.
Okay, got it.
So it only applies to the bus.
Okay.
So it'd be $4 for a one-way trip, or that these DART tickets you can buy. And the DART tickets you can buy through the internet or through the mail. And it's either a single ride ticket or it's a 10 ride one with a punch card for $40. So that's kind of how that essentially works. The driver is not,
And is a trip to and back or just one way?
trip is one way.
Okay.
So a day going to school would cost them $8 there and back. So this is all assuming that you live within 3/4 of a mile of some bus route.
For a little over a mile.
Okay, well, they'll figure out, has he applied yet? Okay, so you want to get your son to apply for DART before they graduate from the system for a couple of reasons. One is because just in case they're not approved, you want to have time to either appeal it or figure out why they weren't approved and do a new application. You can get, it asks for a doctor certification. We also accept that, however, from physician's assistants, certified nurses, certified rehab counselors, people who you're probably working with already in the school system and might not be working with later. So get the DART application in now. Even if you don't think that your son would be using the service that often, do it as a backup. Have it in place. Once you become eligible, the eligibility is good for 3 years. There's no cost for applying for the service. And recertification is really easy. We just send you something in the mail. You send it back to us or call us. No more medical steps required. It's really simple and easy. Okay? So I'd really suggest doing that. And we finish at what time?
You have like 2 minutes.
Cool. What other last minute questions do we have?
No, I just love this. Does yours have a bus pass? You know, you can go down to PTSA and get an actual identification badge where he gets the reduced fare.
Correct.
And you need to go, he has to go with you to get his actual picture taken.
There's actually an application to be filled out, and
And
it's
there's
available
no
online as
fee at
well.
all
Correct.
to get it.
Yep.
But they get the reduced rate. I think we have to have a doctor's note or something.
It's signed by the doctor.
Yeah, something signed, and it's easy if you have a good doctor.
So that would be good to get now, anytime.
Yes,
Sure.
because
Does it
it's
have
good, it's no expiration.
I was gonna say, does it have to be
That's great.
renewed at any
No.
time? Give form
So
signed.
John has one.
Okay,
That's just for the bus.
that's for the bus.
But not for dark.
Dirt do not have an ID.
Does your son ever ride the bus on his own? Because mine will never ride a bus on his own. How does a parent qualify if the son has?
We ride the city bus.
Right,
I go behind him, I just don't talk to him.
okay,
He tells them that he's getting off. They know I'm with him, but they've gotten used to us now.
okay.
Well, they ask him, okay, where are you going today? Are you going to Chuck E. Cheese?
My
Or
son
you
would
going
be
to
more dark.
Tyrone
'cause he-
Mall?
Yeah,
But this is my goal to teaching him. Nobody told me I had to do it.
yeah, yeah.
He'll still have to ride a van. He won't ride a bus independently.
Uh-huh.
No, there
Do you
won't.
need that ID for the DART transportation?
There's
too?
no ID required for DART.
The ID is only for the
For the
bus.
city bus to get the
Okay.
reduced fare.
Yeah, you're not
So if
required.
you ever
Yeah.
ride the bus, he gets the reduced fare. You have to pay full price.
Yeah,
But it teaches him some independence. Not saying he's ever going to ride the bus by himself and go to the bus stop,
okay,
but it teaches them, and they're proud of themselves when they do it.
yeah,
That's what I liked about it. But I've been doing this for 2 years now.
so, yeah,
But it's taken us 2 years for him to talk to the bus driver. And we get different bus drivers all the time. But knock on wood, I've been very blessed with every good bus driver we've had.
sure.
There's also something that a special ed teacher could do as a field trip.
Let me just clarify, I don't even know what ADT my son will qualify for down the line, because he's not independent, he's dependent.
Sure.
So the centers you mentioned, if he qualifies like park and that, they usually have their own transportation. You just say your service though verifies all the positive things of safety and that,
Yeah.
but it's their transportation. And
Their transportation, they don't usually charge, well, I'm not gonna say if they charge or don't charge,
I
but
don't know.
it's all, the
It
first step for them is your son would need to be accepted as a client
right,
in a day program.
right.
And once that's done, then you would say, can your van come and pick him up?
Because then if they can't, then I would have to look at how am I gonna get them? They may not be able to provide it, but they'll accept them in the program. And that's what I'm looking at. Then if I have to provide transportation and I am working,
Yeah.
what could I do?
Now, see, his day program, he's gonna go, won't provide the transportation. We have to go on the iBudget and put it as a
And
transportation.
that's what I've got to really
And
look
that would
at.
be,
And there's more to life than a day program. So
yeah,
that's why I always say, if you
Okay.
sign your son up for DART, so that, let's say he wants to go meet a friend at a movie.
yeah.
He has a way of getting there, or,
Yeah.
at the mall, whatever they
Yeah,
want to do.
You
You know?
know? Go to Busch Gardens.
You want your son to have
Just every other
options.
day.
You want your kids to have options.
I see what you're
Thank you
saying.
very
Thanks for
much, I
coming.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. This is
Sure.
good.
Yeah, that would make an option. I work at the VA and
Oh, okay.
of course they use DART all the time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I always, it's always kind of funny because, getting patients out and